More Than a Medical Chart, The Hallway Awakening Vertical Bar, Fragile Warrior Storytime EP. 2. Hey beautiful souls, it's Fragile Warrior here. Welcome to another journey through the tapestry of human experience. You know, we could be anywhere in this vast universe right now, swimming among distant stars or dancing in another dimension. But here we are, sharing this moment together. Isn't that magical? In this space, we remember what the world tries to make us forget. That beneath our titles, our roles, our uniforms, and our pain, we are consciousness experiencing itself. We are one playing a game of separation. Today's story comes from the front lines where that illusion of separation runs deepest. Our healthcare system, a place where souls in white coats meet souls in hospital gowns, each forgetting their reflections of each other. So take a deep breath with me. Feel your body, feel your heart, and remember as you listen, this story isn't happening to someone else. It's happening to us. Because I am you and you are me, and together we're healing the collective memory bank with each story we share. This is Fragile Warrior Storytime, More Than a Medical Chart. Let's wake up together. Room 412 is asking for pain meds again, sighed the charge nurse, not noticing me sitting just around the corner of the medicine floor hallway. Her voice carried that unmistakable blend of exhaustion and irritation. Third time this shift. The medication nurse looked up from her computer. Oh, Mr. Garcia? Yeah, I'm already behind on my med pass. Is he actually due for anything? Not for another hour, replied the charge nurse, rubbing her temples. But you know how they get. He keeps saying his pain is at a 9. A 9? The medication nurse rolled her eyes. If it were really a 9, he wouldn't be watching TV and asking for more ice chips every 20 minutes. I felt something shift in my chest, a tightening, an awareness. I'd met Mr. Garcia yesterday during my shift, a 68-year-old former construction worker with advanced pancreatic cancer that had spread to his bones. Behind his stoic exterior and occasional jokes, I'd glimpsed moments of raw fear in his eyes. His wife of 40 years had died the previous month, and now he was facing his own mortality alone. Those chronic pain patients are all the same, a third voice joined in, an older nurse who'd been at the hospital for decades. They get so dependent. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They, not he, not Mr. Garcia, just they. In that moment, I suddenly saw the scene as if from above. These 3 exhausted healthcare workers, all genuinely good people who had entered this profession to help others, now speaking about a suffering human being as if he were merely an inconvenience, a category, a problem to solve rather than a soul to serve. It reminded me of the parable of the Good Samaritan. Here were the equivalents of the priest and the Levite, those who should have been most compassionate, passing by the injured man because they were too busy, too caught up in their roles, too disconnected. I wanted to speak up, but something held me back. Was it fear of judgment from my colleagues? Reluctance to seem self-righteous? Or something deeper, a recognition that I too had been guilty of the same disconnection on my most overwhelmed days? I'm going to go check on 415 first, the medication nurse said, gathering her supplies. At least she doesn't complain so much. As they dispersed, I sat with the uncomfortable truth of what I'd witnessed. This wasn't about these 3 individuals. It was about a system we've all created together. A system that rushes healthcare workers so severely that they don't have time to see the human being behind the call light. A system that has reduced healing to a series of tasks to be completed as efficiently as possible. I thought about Socrates and his belief that true wisdom starts with dialogue and questioning. What questions weren't being asked here? What dialogue wasn't happening? No one had asked Mr. Garcia why his pain felt worse today. No one had considered that perhaps his pain wasn't just physical, but spiritual. The agony of facing death alone, of leaving this world unnoticed and uncared for. Standing up, I made a decision. I walked to room 412 and knocked gently. Come in, called a weak voice. Mr. Garcia was propped up in bed, the TV playing softly in the background. Not because he was watching it, I realized, but because the sound filled the terrible silence of an empty room. Hey, Mr. Garcia, I'm not your nurse today, but I wanted to check in. I heard you've been having a rough time with pain. His eyes widened slightly at the genuine inquiry. It's bad today. Really bad. His voice cracked. I know they think I'm just complaining, but... He hesitated. But what? I asked, pulling up a chair. Today would have been Carmen's and my 41st anniversary, he whispered. And all I can think is that I'll be joining her soon, and I'm scared. I'm so scared. His pain wasn't at a 9. It was beyond measurement. Not just physical pain from cancer eating his bones, but the soul-deep agony of grief and fear. I sat with him for 15 minutes. Not fixing, not solving, just being present. I held his hand while he cried for his Carmen. I listened as he spoke of regrets and hopes. And before I left, I promised to let his nurse know about his anniversary, to make sure someone checked on him more frequently today. As I walked back to the nurse's station, I thought about the prophet Micah's words. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? So simple, yet so profound. Justice means seeing people fairly, not as categories or problems, but as individuals deserving of care. Kindness means extending compassion even when it's inconvenient. And walking humbly means remembering that we are all connected, all vulnerable, all in need of grace. The medication nurse was at the station, charting. Hey, I said gently. I just checked on Mr. Garcia in 412. Today's his wedding anniversary. Would have been 41 years with his wife who passed last month. I think his pain might be more than physical today. Something shifted in her expression, a softening, a remembering. Oh, she said quietly, I didn't know. She looked at her watch, then at her medication cart. I think I'll check on him now, actually. Thanks for letting me know. And there it was, the moment of reconnection, of remembering the human behind the room number. I thought about karma then, not as some cosmic punishment, but as the natural echo of our actions. The nurse who dismisses a patient's pain might one day be the patient whose pain is dismissed. The administrator who cuts staff to save money might one day be the patient who waits hours for a response to their call light. The system we uphold through our daily choices is the system that will eventually care for us. But there was hope, too. In that small interaction, that moment of remembering Mr. Garcia's humanity, I saw how easily the cycle could be broken, how quickly we could shift from disconnection to compassion, from them to us. As I walked away, I realized that changing the system starts here, in these small moments of choice, these opportunities to see beyond roles and labels to the shared consciousness that connects us all. To remember Jesus' simple command to love your neighbor as yourself, not because they deserve it, not because it's easy, but because your neighbor is yourself in a different form. Beautiful souls, as we sit with this hallway awakening, I invite you to feel how it resonates in your own heart. How many times have we all been on either side of this divide? The one who reduces another to a problem, or the one who feels reduced? The nurses at that station aren't villains. They're us on our most disconnected days. Mr. Garcia isn't just a victim. He's us in our moments of vulnerability and need. This dance of separation plays out countless times each day across our world. What's most powerful about this story is the reminder that the system creating this separation isn't some distant, untouchable force. It's an agreement we make with each other moment by moment. We uphold it with our language, with our hurried dismissals, with the way we put on our uniforms and badges, and forget that underneath, we are all the same consciousness wearing different costumes. The karma that flows from these moments isn't punishment. It's simply the natural echo of our energy returning to us. When we forget to see the divine in others, we create a world where others cannot see the divine in us. When we remember the connection, we create ripples that return as waves of compassion when we most need them. So what will you do with this remembering? The next time you're rushing through your day, will you pause to really see the soul before you? The next time you put on your uniform, whether it's scrubs, a business suit, or a customer service badge, will you remember it's just a costume in this cosmic play? Whatever role you play in this world, healthcare worker, patient, teacher, student, parent, child, know that it's an honor to encounter each soul as we journey through Earth School together. Every interaction is a chance to heal or hurt our collective memory bank. Choose healing, choose seeing, choose remembering. If this story awakens something in you, share it in the comments. Your voice is part of this awakening too. Until our next journey together, this is Fragile Warrior reminding you, I am always loving you. I am always feeling you. I am you, and you are me. We are one. Stay conscious, beautiful souls.